Georgia Congressman and Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich back with us. Mr. Speaker, always a pleasure. Great to see you, Newt. Your reaction?
Well, look, I mean, I think that Majority Leader Thune did an amazing job to get the Senate to act that quickly. He got down to the wire and needed the Vice President to break the tie, but they got the bill through. That was an enormous achievement, and Majority Leader Thune deserves an awful lot of credit for inch by inch listening to his members, modifying the bill. And remember, for everybody who talks about no kings and about President Trump being too great a leader in terms of breaking out of the rules, this is the constitutional process. The 100 members of the Senate representing the states have to pass a bill. The 435 members of the House representing individual districts has to pass a bill. The President can't sign anything if they don't get this bill through. So the system's working. It's painful. It's hard. It's exactly what the Founding Fathers wanted. Now, Speaker Johnson has, I think, a very simple message that he's got to deliver to those Republicans who are thinking about voting no. A no vote is a vote for the largest tax increase in American history. I would challenge any House Republican. Explain to me, if the Senate bill got through by a tie vote with the Vice President breaking the tie, what is it you think you're going to do to get the bill to be better and get it through the Senate? And the answer is nothing. So this is it. You can either be for the biggest tax increase in history, you can be for weakening our control on the border, you can be for allowing illegal immigrants to get tax-paid money, allowing adults who refuse to work to get tax-paid money. And remember, the Democrat comments on Medicaid are virtually all lies. There are no children who are affected by this. There are no families that are affected by this. This goes after people who are either illegal immigrants, committing fraud, or refusing to go to work. Now, overwhelmingly, the American people think that that's legitimate. So, as the debate goes on, my hope is that the House Republicans will decide in the end that this is a big step. Remember, governing is a motion picture. It's not a Polaroid snapshot. After this bill, there are going to be more bills. There are going to be more opportunities. And it's important for the president's momentum that this pass, that he get it signed, and then they can turn to the next big achievement.
Yeah, and there will be another reconciliation opportunity later in the year to get more spending cuts and other priorities through. But you write out exactly what it means to the average family out there in your most recent piece, Newt, and it's really important to point this out because those people may very well hold those congressmen accountable. Come the midterm elections, you write the average family of four would have paid an extra $1,700 in taxes, about 9 weeks worth of groceries, if they vote no. Killing the bill would have cut the child tax credit, and you also talk about small business. 26 million small businesses would have seen their taxes increase to 43%. These are huge impacts, and that affects growth overall in the broader economy, and it affects, obviously, the fate of families across the country.
You know, you can understand why the Democrats would vote no, because if they could stop this bill,
no, I still can't understand that.
It'll crush the economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I mean,
it'll crush the economy,
they want that going
and the Republicans will lose.
Exactly, exactly.
That's exactly
so it's all
right.
political.
Well, I think, look, it's a great risk the Democrats are taking, because if they become the party, additionally the party of Mamdani, if they become the party now of huge tax increases, that's going to be a pretty big burden to carry. You might think of it as an elephant on their back as they go into the election next year.
You know, President Trump has shown such practicality when it comes to a number of issues, not just about taxes and the border, but also about China. And the DOJ announced 2 Chinese nationals were arrested yesterday for allegedly spying on and collecting intelligence from U.S. Navy bases. They tried to recruit other military members to serve China's foreign intelligence. This is just a story that never quits. And I spoke with the president about the China threat and how he deals with it on Sunday Morning Futures. I want to get your take on how he responds here. Watch this.
We had a deal with China where it was 145% tariffs. And I will tell you, everything stopped in China.
It seems like you go so far with China, but you don't sort of use the leverage that you can use. I mean, look.
If I ever had to use it, I'd use it. But when there's no reason to use it, that's good too.
Well, we did just arrest 3 or 4 Chinese nationals who tried to bring a pathogen into the country that gets people sick and destroys food supply. We've got hacking.
You don't know where that came from, though. I mean, did that come from the country, or is that 3 wackos that happened to carry something? You know, you just don't.
Well, there was one that he signed that he would be, one of them signed a paper saying that he would value Mao Zedong's value system. So there was that. And then they hack into our telecom system. They've been stealing intellectual property. Fentanyl, COVID, I mean, you know, all of this stuff. So how do you negotiate with obviously a bad actor and trust them on economics?
You don't think we do that to them? We do.
So
We do a lot of things.
that's the way the world works?
That's the way the world works. It's a nasty world.
And then you just do a trade deal?
We do. Well, we made a lot of money with this trade deal. You know, I do a trade deal if it works. We made a lot of money with the trade deal.
You think that China is going to stop bullying companies to give them information in terms of, in exchange for getting those rare earth minerals now?
Companies shouldn't put themselves in that position. You know, they really shouldn't. Now, I will say this, China right now needs those companies much more than they needed them 2 years ago.
So, Newt, I want to get your reaction here because obviously people were waiting on a trade deal with China. The July 9th tariff pause ends next week. With most nations, the China pause will end in August. What are your expectations in terms of all these trade deals? That will be the next big issue that the markets focus on, certainly, after the big bill passes the House this week.
Look, I always recommend to people to read Trump's first big bestseller, The Art of the Deal, because it tells you a lot about Trump. He's made tons of deals in his career. He's gotten to be very successful at it. And he's pretty confident that most days he can out-negotiate other people. My hunch is, and we've never talked about it this directly, but my hunch is that he has a very clear-cut yardstick. Is America better off? Does America get more jobs? Is there more investment in America? If the answer is yes, it's a good deal and he'll take it. If the answer is no, he's not going to take the deal, as he just proved to the Canadians. Trump understands better than any American president we're the biggest economy. Countries need access to us far more than we need access to them, and that gives him the leverage as a deal maker to consistently pressure other countries into giving America a better deal than they got in the last 30 years. And it's beginning to really work.
Do you think that voters will hold the Democrats accountable for their lack of putting America first, Newt? I mean, you've got the midterms coming up in 26. How do you see things happening going into that?
Well, the best analyst I know is a guy named Seth Keshel, who studies registration by county and state. Just issued a report 2 days ago that in every single county in Pennsylvania, Republicans have gained ground. Every single county. And so Keshel thinks we're probably going to keep the House and could keep the House by a big margin. The Democrats have got radicalism like Mamdani and AOC, and the Democrats have a history now of voting for tax increases, and the Democrats have to carry the burden of the Biden record. If the Republicans campaign strategically, they will have an astonishingly good year next year, and will be much like Franklin Roosevelt in 1934. It will consolidate the Trump majority and give the president 2 more years to continue making very aggressive reforms in what is now a 90-year-old system that's frankly corrupt and bureaucratic and incompetent and badly needs overhaul.
All right, we will leave it there. Great analysis as always. Great to see you, Newt. Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right, Newt Gingrich joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.